32 pages of the English dictionary, staple them together and say, here, it is my story. And I looked at it, and I know, of course, that some of these so-called experimental writers would play jokes. You know, let's see what we can do with the old man there. But I looked at it, and I thought, yeah, okay. I'm interested in words, and here are words like aeroplane and arrogance or whatever. Not arrogance, because that is beyond anarchy. There's some words that I know and some words I don't know. So I learned something, which is what we do when we read a novel, right? And then, by accident, there was the alphabet table in one of the pages. Alphabet table. Roman, English, Hebrew, Arabic, Greek, etc. 5 of them. And that was quite interesting too, because if you look at the alphabet table, Greek alphabet table, here is all of Homer. If you only had the genius to take those words, those letters, and rearrange them, you would have Homer. So I thought that was interesting. So a story is being created about language itself. But still I'm puzzling, and I'm wondering what's going on. One of the functions of literature is to entertain you. Well, this was entertaining me, it was passing my time. It was also making me think. It was doing all those things. And then the final page was not torn from the dictionary, it was duplicated. And he had stopped, because he had stopped it at the word anarchy, and the rest of it was blank. And that is what the story was. A dictionary gives you the idea of solidity. Yes, this is real, this is life. We believe the dictionary is telling us the truth. But anarchy, it stops it there. And that has all kinds of terrific associations. What is life, folks? Is it solid or is it real? What was it that Virginia Woolf said? Is life solid or is it shifting? It's one or the other. It's anarchy. It's quite beautiful. And one other comes to my mind. A writer had written a story in 5 or 6 pages. And the first page was blank, but it had one line cut out, a hole in the page, through which you could read words, I am, or something like that. And then you turn the page, and it had more lines cut out, and so on. So you could read more and more as you turn the pages until the final page. The entire story was on the final page. But you could only glimpse it partially from page after page. And each page, it changed the story. It was quite brilliant. It was quite marvelous what some of those people did. So what I'm saying is that the possibilities are immense. The majority of the stories that are written are the old Jacobean, well-made stories, and they are fine. But some of these other things that are happening are really quite wonderful. Yeah.
Mr. Gauss, I have a lifetime complaint against you.
Okay.
I have been one of your great champions since my early 20s. And, your first novel, first of all, you never wrote another novel, as far as I know, set in Pakistan. And it's your novel, The Murder of Aziz Khan, has been out of print for years. And why have you not? Is it, you said something, I'm just coalescing the two questions. Is it because when you said the matter of details, and you talked about that valise thing, the valise, now that immediately sets the story in a particular time. I mean, it's set in the past. Nobody uses a valise. Nobody calls it a valise any longer.
Yeah.
Is it because it's so difficult to write about the subcontinent without having to give sort of ethnography and details and each, for example, if you talk about, say, a neem tree, it means something to a reader here, whereas a reader in another country will just get the outline of a story where that exists.
Give me time to read this for you.
All right, okay.
This answers your question. I read this, I gave this lecture here 2 or 3 years ago, and was published in the Dawn. In fact, it's called an address to the university students of Pakistan. People in Pakistan often ask me why I do not write more about Pakistan, why my novels are not set here. If I may offer a personal explanation, I was born in Sialkot and spent my first 7 years there, the next 10 years in Bombay. The rest of my life has been spent in the West. Most people in Pakistan see me as someone who has become disconnected from Pakistan, and they point to several of my novels as confirmation of my alienation because the novels are set in South America. But look again. Yes, the surface is that of South America, though not always. But look a little more closely at the language, at the images. Most, if not all, of the stories are inventions, and the characters are also inventions. But still, my attempt to create a fiction, because the transmission of the story is coming via my brain, is necessarily going to have layers of meaning that come out of my unconscious. And my unconscious is filled with a great deal of reading and with those images which are the archetypes particular to people where I was born. And what are they? You've only got to review the history of the Punjab to answer that. A Punjabi's history did not begin in 1947. As with any other human being on the planet, his history began thousands of years ago. And where I was born, it would be the height of ignorance to think that among my ancestors there were no Greeks, Mongols, Buddhists, Hindus, Sikhs, Mughals, Persians, Afghans, and God knows who else. You don't have to be a Jungian to believe that a Punjabi's collective unconscious may well have traces of some or all of those sources. Just look at the crazy, surprising, wildly improbable, and often inexplicable images of your own dreams. A good deal of such unconscious matter is there in my novels wherever they are set. And my dear lady, you have not read all of them because... But wait, if you look at my novel called The Triple Mirror of the Self, you will, even when you might be looking at an Andean view, be seeing something else. It begins, it's a long novel, 300 something. It begins with the Andes and it ends with the Hindu Kush. There's a mirror image there. And wait. In this novel, I describe a strange episode in that novel in a strange place called Kailash. Now, what you did with your Zarak, strange place called Kailash. Look again, dear reader. So far, and this is a few years ago, only one person I know has noticed that the letters that make up the name Kailash also make up the name of another city. In the same episode, I have a character whom I call Mokwa Jagez, and I put a little accent on the Jagez, E, just to confuse the reader there, or not, but to distract. Mokwa ends with KHWA, and Jagez begins with JA. The accent on the E might distract the reader, but you might notice that the first name ends with Khwa, and the surname begins with Ja, and the combination produces Khwaja. At this point, you might remember that the author's surname is spelled Ghose, and that might alert you to the presence of those letters in Mokwa Jagez, which will thus give you Khwaja M. Ghosh, which is my father's name. These archetypal images, well, this was not archetypal, this was just a joke there. Not a joke, but a planting. These archetypal images are there in all of us, but how are you to access them in your poems and stories? The worst approach is, no, you don't need the rest of this, but this answers your question. It's all there. And you know, I was punished last month or so by having to read all my novels. Well, the worst thing to do is to read your own work. I had to do this because they're doing a digitization of the thing, and I had to correct a whole bunch of them. And it's a painful exercise because you don't want to be reminded of mistakes that you made. You know. Anyway, but I was struck by the fact that here, for example, the novel that I wrote set in Brazil called The Incredible Brazilian, it's 3 volumes, 1,000 pages long. And I wrote it, 35 years ago. And it starts with the 18th century Brazil and goes into the 20th century. And it's all authentically Brazilian, in a sense. But when I reread it recently, I realized I was writing about being in exile. The character is always looking at landscapes. He's always looking at that which might be his country, but it's not. There's that alienation thing. It's all there. You have to look for it. Okay. Yes.
Showing and telling. What's your take on that?
Oh yeah, show, never tell.
Show, never tell.
Oh yeah.
Just a little bit.
Oh, yeah, of course, you've been trying to. Yeah, a little bit you do.
But it's always show.
As far as possible, yeah.
Character. How much does one need to put in the character? I mean, is it like very subjective that, I mean, I really don't like describing people.
Well, you're asking for a formula. There's no formula. You just make it up as you go along. Either it works or it doesn't work. You know, Henry James said that there's only 2 kinds of novels, those that have life and those that have it not. I see no other distinction. Very good. Okay. Getting hungry now. All they give me is water here. And even the bottle is gone.
Could you please give some advice or guidelines on technical writing, as in writing professionally?
I have no idea.
No?
No, honestly, I don't do it. I've never done it.
Okay.
I don't know what it looks like.
All right. Thank you.
Like writing.
Let me just, I mean, you know, like when you're writing fiction, you know, you are creating things by imagination or your experiences.
Yeah.
When we're writing, say, advertisements and things like that, when we're appealing to the senses of a reader, we're appealing them, we're trying to persuade them to buy our products or services.
Yeah.
So I believe that certainly involves a certain element of creativity, and there certainly may be an overlap. So, you know, being somebody so experienced, you know, your wisdom would certainly be, you know, valuable.
Yeah, I don't know, but I imagine, I mean, if you look at advertising, a commercial for some food or the other makes you salivate, right? So it's appealing to your senses. I don't know. Okay, you want to, I think we should stop, don't you? Or you want to go on? Shall I just sit here? You can admire me and... No, forget it. G? Yeah.
The details here are so culturally specific
Yeah.
that they can be understood perhaps by another subcontinental reader. But if you're writing in English,
Yeah.
you simplify or say concentrate on the story. And so the reader perhaps reading it abroad or wherever gets the story but misses out that kind of subtext and
No. You're talking about sociological matter. Sociological matter is incidental to the story. I mean, I should imagine, never been to Russia, I should imagine the culturally must be very different from what I know. Yes. But I can read Tolstoy any day.
yeah, but perhaps a Russian gets another
Oh, sure. There are some things a native which...
yes, for example, I was just thinking of the Bible of the word tell.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Has got a kind of, not criticism, but
I'm not writing for anybody. Are you writing for yourself? No, I just write because I've got nothing else to do. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't have, I mean, there's so much of our botany here, which is, important to us. You can't translate it because you use a Latin word. It doesn't mean anything. And I know. Kipling gets round it. Kipling is a bad writer, by the way. Mm. What does one do? Okay. That's right. Yeah. All the words are on the internet. So the internet is sitting here in this day and age. It's very easy. If I put down Ahmed's chutney, jams and marmalade in one piece, yeah. I don't even bother now. I mean, it was like 2 years ago. I really had a problem. Then I said Ahmed's chutney on the internet. Googled it. It was there. Yeah. So anybody who's like really curious and getting into the depth of neem tree, go on the internet. Now it's like I tell people, don't even buy Oxford University Press dictionary. Just go on the net. You can buy neem tree as well. Oh yes. You know? Yeah. So I mean, internet is that. So there you are. Bridging people together. Well, I won't use Anadishta, Indica, or whatever. And another thing is like I met a Russian, and Russian said, I mean, you really have to know Russian to really understand what, yeah. So I mean, that will always be there. Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. Oh yeah, you're asking. Sorry. Yeah, let's hear you. The principles that you've outlined, they apply to biography. I can't hear a word. The principles that you've outlined for creative writing and for writing in fiction, do they apply to biography writing as well? Biography? Yeah, if you're writing a biography of somebody or you're... Yeah, you're dealing with facts, yeah. Yeah. I've never written I've written an autobiography, but that was madness. Biographies that you read, the ones that absorb you, give you a lot of facts. Yeah. They don't stop the action of the life of the person with statements. Yeah, I should imagine so. Even in politics, when people make speeches, the speeches that have imagistic matter in them are more interesting and absorbing. They catch the attention of the... whereas if the politician says, life, my friend, is not the end but the beginning, that kind of trashy cliches that they always give you. Churchill was good at that, yeah, he used that voice of his to get... If you read, you see a second-rate film called The Ghost Writer, where there's a man who's trying to write a biography of the Prime Minister,
excuse me, ma'am. Can you just give me a second? I need to make an announcement here. Right. Sorry. I have an announcement on behalf of OUB, Oxford University Press. Do we have any participants from the short story contest sitting here right now? Please could you come to the front of the room and meet me. And another second announcement, we had a few copies of Zulfikar Ghose's book lying here, and I think some people inadvertently thought they were complimentary, but they're not actually. They're meant to be distributed to the participants of the short story competition. So could you collect them? And if anyone has picked them up by mistake, could you please put them back? The books are available, yes. If you're interested in buying the book, it's available at our bookstall outside. So you can buy your copy home. So before the workshop ends, please come and meet me here.
He said this
Dr. Ghosh, I have a question about publishing. When you have had your manuscript ready, it's very difficult in the subcontinent to get it published. Even though you have written well, people do not accept it. So any views on that?
other
That is
writers
a universal
skills
problem.
or
Nothing to do with
who've got
Pakistan. It's to do with the world.
background and the history.
And
Are there any NGOs or any such places facilitate publishing?
There's the only thing you just keep sending, and keep getting it back. Listen, there are thousands of writers in this world, and nobody wants them. Thousands of them. Gee. Thank you. This one just come out. Yeah.
No, the Vanity publishers are doing something.
Sorry?
The Vanity publishers.
That's worthless. What's the point of that? Yeah, for yourself, yes, but nobody else is going to buy it. Okay.
Sir, she is my granddaughter. My name is Kazafa, and I also come from the south.
Wonderful.
I did my matriculation from the government school there, and I
M.A. N.I. A.M. N.I.Z.
A-M-I, Nizam.
I don't want to make a mistake.
No, can't afford it. I've been acquainted with you, sir, since 1967 through
Oh, very good.
a poem to you, a poem that
Attack on Seattle?
that's right. Grandfather, symbols of.
That's right.
I still remember that line.
Sayyida Faiza Jamil.
Saida?
Sayyida, S-Y-E-D-A, Sayyida, F-A-I-Z-A, Faiza.
F.
A-I-Z-A.
Fine, I leave it at that.
Thank you, Mr. Ormond. Thank you so much.
Everyone stopped writing poetry because I'm.
No. Oh, you published one last year?
And are you now in permanency in Pakistan?
I'm just visiting.
I missed you a number of times.
After you,
Zafar is my name, sir. I'm Zafar. It's been such a great pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Seeing you in person.
Thank you.
After
50 years, yes.
what a great day.
Congratulations. Gee.
I mentor 6 teenagers in the writing of this book. It's full of action, so you might actually enjoy it.
Thank you very much.
So if you do end up reading it, I really would appreciate it if you did. Here is my email address, and I would really appreciate your feedback.
Okay. And you are,
My name is Solid Pervez.
oh, you're
I
the,
was their mentor, then editor, and publisher also.
wow, very good.
It's available through Liberty Books also. It's a murder mystery. So
Wow.
I thought you might find it interesting.
Thank you. I'm touched.
If I could have an email address, I would like to.
Oh, yeah, listen, I'm on the internet. You can find it. Rather than give it, if you go to University of Texas, it's all there.
All right, great. Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure hearing you speak. You wanted those poems of Dr. Kamal Fitna, so should I just mail them to the address on that website? Those poems by Pakistani poet.
Yes, yeah, just send me a few to my email.
Yes, the one on the website.
Yeah.
All right, so it was very nice.
Thank you.
Sir, my name is Nida, and I just want to say it was really nice meeting you. I will introduce myself. I'm a lyricist actually, and I've been writing for international bands and for national bands on a beginner's basis. And plus, I've started writing stories, just a while ago, and I'm also in the middle of writing 2 novels at the same time.
Good for you.
So, yeah, and I just want to ask you something that writing short stories and the way I write lyrics, okay, I'm into lyrics. I've written over like 2,000 lyrics just now. Okay. So I just want to ask you something that the way you said that detailing is important.
Good luck to them. I don't. It's better for them. It's better for not better for me. Virginia Woolf says, "I write to amuse myself," which is fine.
Great writers wrote with an audience in mind, like Tolstoy.
No, we do not know. Obviously, Dickens was writing for the newspapers, publishing his stories, novels, serialized. So he had to, and he changed things for his audience. Some of his stuff. The ending of Great Expectations, he changes that. because the audience didn't want to cry, they wanted a happy ending, so give them a happy ending. But each writer works the way he wants. And you know, obviously, if you are poor, and the only way to survive is to sell your work, then you write for an audience. And I had the good luck, no, I think I still was, even before I went to Texas. I was struggling in London, working occasional school teacher and doing journalistic jobs, freelance writing, and was hand to mouth. And I would not have stopped doing that. It just happened that by doing that and insisting on doing a job that keeps you alive somehow, and then you have to find the energy with which to do the writing. At one stage, I was working as a school teacher from 9 to 4, going home, having a bath, and that so that I have a different body when I come out of the bath, and spending till 1 o'clock at night doing my writing. And then, this goes on for a number of years, but as a consequence, I had 6 books. And as a consequence of that, the University of Texas invited me to go and teach there. And that was a very nice job, and sufficiently well paying for me to have the freedom to do what I want. And as a result, I could not be dependent upon having to serve some audience. And so I did it.
Sir, if an author, he writes with hardship when he is going through difficult times,
Yeah.
and then he writes when he is well set, what is the difference in writing?
None at all, as far as I know. It depends on the individual brain, surely. I have in this thing a story about a Marxist critic once said to me, it's there in the introduction, he said to me, and he's a Marxist, right? And they have a fixed agenda, a fixed idea of what the world is. He said, tell me how much money you make and I'll tell you what kind of writing you do. Meaning that if you are rich, therefore you will write a certain kind of thing. Now that is very silly, and it shows what I say here, an ignorance of history. Look at Keats, Joyce, Vallejo, a number of, it's a long list of people. They suffered. But did Joyce give up his vision? I mean, if you read the biography and the letters of James Joyce, he was poor. And he was working all kinds of stuff to make money. He had 2 ratty kids. And not ratty, they were ordinary kids. One went insane, in fact. He lived in such poverty that one of his kids was born in a pauper's hospital. And yet he did not lose his vision of what he wanted to do. So this Marxist idea that you write a certain kind of thing because you're affluent is nonsense, you know. It all depends on the individual.
What if you want to convey to the world what you're, if I'm going through something that is really critical, I mean, that is something I cannot share it with even a family member, and that is a condition